but I think in the States we train a little smarter, but in Mexico, man, I think with the combination of these fighters going from the States and Mexico and having the Mexican heart, they get to train smarter and that much harder because of it and be extreme athletes, and better fighters.
But you know what? You're right, man. Because no matter if it's boxing or MMA, and whenever you see a Mexican fighter, I mean, with a Mexican blood, they're always going forward. They're always
Hmm.
going forward. And people like that. But like you say, you gotta fight smart too because sometimes they're waiting for you. I don't know because you're Mexican. I mean, you need to prove a lot more. You know what I mean? I don't know why.
Hmm.
Because like I like a Canelo, for example. I like okay, is when it's time to attack, that's fine. But sometimes you need to stay like on defense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, every time I spar with a fighter I don't know, maybe a person that I'm just meeting that so happens to be, Latino, but I don't know what he is. Once we start fighting, I'm like, oh, he's Mexican. Like this is the way he fights, he's Mexican because we're very forward. We take a shot, we're very prideful. We want to give that back and 10 times more. So it gets it's very fun training and sparring with Mexican fighters just because it's going to be a challenge. Even if you're better than them, they're always going to push you and they're gonna tire you out until they can finally beat you up.
Actually, like we experienced, man. That's why I mean, you have a lot of knowledge, man, from MMA. So that was I want to ask you a bunch of questions, but I try
Please.
I try to be short, man. Why do you think, man, the MMA is getting so big in Mexico right now, like never before?
Well, I think when we look at it, obviously we have warriors in our blood, but then you see boxing. We took over boxing, back in the day, and even still now, with Canelo being one of the most popular fighters in the world, and a lot of other Mexican fighters getting ready to challenge him. But with that being said, now MMA is a more popular sport. And because the US is right next door, a lot of Mexican fighters are going to the US training and bringing their knowledge back to Mexico. And MMA gyms here are huge because there's not many. So when there's a Mexican gym, people are like, "Oh my gosh, there's MMA here. It's not just boxing. Yeah, I want to learn MMA. I want to learn MMA." And now you have not just the warrior blood going into MMA, but fighters now learning how to do it, learning how to wrestle. I mean, I'm training with so many fighters here. And seeing the talent, the natural talent, without having wrestling. And now they're learning wrestling, and now learning jujitsu, now learning how to kick, and so many things. It's we have we're warriors automatically, by blood. So you teach us something, we're gonna be the best at it. And you look at Brandon Moreno, you look at Daniel, you look at Lazy Boy, you look at Rosas, you look at all the Mexican fighters that are gonna be on the card.
Oh, yeah.
Yair, like it's getting extremely popular and it shows how good these guys really are. They just need to learn the technique and they're learning extremely fast.
And you know what? And this is the new generation. It's gonna be crazy, huh? It's crazier, it's crazy that gets. Like it's gonna be a good fight. Now that you mentioned man, the card for the February 24th, the UFC. Uh, what do you think, man? Jair or Brian Ortega?
Um, I don't remember too much about the first fight, but I know Brian Ortega is really bad with distance control, while Yair is really good with distance control. Um, Brian Ortega is definitely much better on the ground, but Yair is very good at getting back up because of how long he is. So it becomes a very complicated fight. I believe last fight Brian Ortega, dislocated his shoulder and the fight couldn't continue, but Jair is just so long. He's so acrobatic. No matter who he fights, it's a very scary contest. If he stays at distance, you're getting beat up no matter what. If you can close the distance like Brian Ortega can, then maybe it might be a little different. But Brian is also not like he's a good boxer, but he's not a phenomenal boxer. I think he's at the same level as Yair. But on the ground, that's where Brian Ortega does very, very well. The only difference is you have to play the factor of how long Yair is. It's very hard to get certain submissions on long guys because, and I know that for sure because my name is Shorty. If I face someone my height, it's a lot easier. I face someone very long, I have to adapt my style. So I'm excited to see how this fight turns out. But I give the edge to Yair just because of how hard it is to close the distance on him.
Yeah, it's gonna be a crazy fight, man. Even good experience. What do you think, Volkanovski and Topuria, man? 'Cause-
It's crazy how Ilya Torres is talking. a lot of smack. He's very confident, and I'm excited to see how he shows up. But the problem is Volkanovski has fought some of the best in the world. Yo, Max Holloway, I believe he's fought Brian Ortega. He's fought Yair. He's fought Islam Makhachev twice. He's fought I think he fought Frankie. No, not Frankie either. Chad Mendez. He fought many high level people that were either champions, former champions, or people who fought for the belt. Ilya Tempora hasn't. So, the hard part is Ilya Tempora has a lot of confidence, and that's great, but he doesn't have a lot of experience against very, very high level guys. I think Ilya has very good boxing, but I believe Volkanovski has a lot more weapons to offer than Ilya. So I'm excited, and with the experience. The experience is a huge, huge factor. So I'm excited to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I watched earlier the press conference. Tupuria was telling to Volkanovski, you know what, I'm going to retire you. There was
Hmm.
talk. He was talking to Tupuria. For some reason, man, Tupuria is always talking about the fighters. Like I don't know why, but he hates so much Yair. He always talking about Yair. Like I saw on the interview earlier too. He was like, you know what? If I got the belt, I'm not gonna give a chance to Yair because he don't deserve it. I don't like the way he got the fights. I don't like the way he wins. I don't even like because he was fighting and he fall. I mean, like it was like to put it. I mean, like you say, it's good to have good confidence. I don't know why he like to talk a lot, right?
Yeah, it's there's a very fine line with being. I faced this in my last fight where I was a little too overconfident. I remember I did a mental health video about this where it's good to be confident in yourself, but you need a happy medium. If you don't care about the fight, then you don't really care what happens. You're not cautious, you're not scared. And so you go in there very reckless. And that's kind of what I did my last fight, and I paid the price for it. But um if you're confident in your ability, but also understanding that wow, this guy is dangerous. If you're too nervous, then you're gonna freeze up and you're not gonna do what you need to do. But if you're confident and cautious at the same time, knowing that this person is dangerous because everyone is inside the cage, but also know the abilities that you're capable of doing and how well you can perform against this, then you're gonna be cautious, but also a person that can walk forward and do what you need to do to win. So I think Ilya is on the overconfident side, but some people thrive off of it. It's not my style. Um, some people thrive off of it, and some people don't. And I'm excited to see he's naturally a very confident man, but again, he hasn't fought someone uh Alex, Volkanovski just because of the level that he's fighting at now. Josh Emmett was an amazing fighter, but he's not a championship fighter, and he's proved that twice with, or at least losing to Yair. So he can talk about Yair all he wants. He can talk about Volkanovski. He can talk about bumping up and doing whatever. But no matter what, he needs to prove a point. So until he gets inside that cage, he can say whatever he wants. But we'll see if he's able to say the same after the fight's over.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's almost time. You know what? Now that you're in like the two worlds, U.S. Mexico, and you yourself, you have Mexican too, blood, Mexican blood. Why you think, man? Like there's so much hate on Raul Rosas Jr., man. I don't get it.
Is because he's so young and he's also very, very confident. I mean, I remember looking at old Facebook posts when I was 18, when I was 19, when I was 20, where I'm like, wow, I said that. Wow, I just didn't care. I was very confident. I was very, I was a teenager still. I was still a kid. In my head, I'm the best in the world. No one can beat me. I can do whatever. And Rosas found that out his last fight, that he still needs to do certain things. That yeah, it's great to be confident. There's no reason you shouldn't be. You're in the UFC. But good for you. You made it to where people can't even dream of getting to. Like I'm very happy for you, but you also have to respect that you're still very young in the sport, and there's a lot that you still have to learn. And it's hard to know that when you're a kid. You think you're the best in the world. I mean, we all did, but he paid the price and he's trying to redeem himself. And now, I saw him a couple days ago, and I'm excited to see him fight because I trained with him at Extreme Couture. He's very good. He has a lot of potential, but he also still has a lot to learn. So I'm excited to see how coachable he is and how much he's learned a lesson from his last fight. But no matter what people say, as long as he keeps winning, he's proven everyone wrong. And I believe he was born in California and not Mexico. So like even for me, I'm a Mexican fighter, but technically no matter what, I'm a gringo. Like no matter what, I'm a gringo. So with that being said, if I start representing the Mexican flag and I'm down here doing this, doing that, if I don't conduct myself properly, then the Mexican crowd isn't gonna like me. And I think with Rojas, you know, he's conducting himself too arrogantly, and then he lost his last fight, so it makes him look worse, and it makes him look worse representing a certain country, and that being Mexico. So it becomes very difficult with that. But I believe he's gonna redeem himself this week, and I'm excited to see his fight.
Yeah, but you know what I think, man, is like a Mexican boards whatever they want. You know what I mean? I mean, like, no matter what, if you say you're gringo, whatever, but your blood, man, is what matters. I mean, like, it was cool. Why not have like a 30, 40 fighters in the UFC that have blood Mexican, but they born in the US? I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that, but that's the way
Yeah,
that's the way they do it. You know?
yeah. I have my second to last fight. I fought in Colombia for the Pan American Games, and when I walked out, I'm half Mexican, half Puerto Rican, but technically I was born in the U.S. So I'm all Pan American. So when I walked out, I had a triple flag. I had in the flag it had the American flag, it had the Puerto Rican flag, and it had the Mexican flag. And it was amazing because that's me. And I represent my heritage properly because if it weren't for the blood I have, I always say I have the Mexican heart with a Puerto Rican left hook. It's a huge thing. I got the Puerto Rican swagger, I have the salsa moves and dancing, but I have that Puerto Rican warrior, or excuse me, that Mexican warrior in me that just walks forward and always puts on a show. I got the best of both worlds. You see the best boxing fights. You have Cotto Margarito, you have Trinidad De La Hoya. You have all these different guys going at it, and it's always a war. But for me, I was born with both, and I've been lucky and fortunate enough to use that both in my career. So, for me, I represent myself proudly. I think Rosas, for example, does it, but sometimes again it comes off a little bit too arrogant, and a lot of especially Mexican fans are confident in themselves, but they also want to be humble because they know where they came from.
Yeah, yeah. I thought, I went to Las Vegas to the UFC Expo. I went to,
Hmm.
I was there, and Rosas was walking there, and I asked him like, "Hey, to get a picture." He was like, "Really cool, man." I mean, like nice everything.
Hmm.
And also, I talked to Jesse Rosas, the brother. Uh,
Hmm.
really cool people, man. I mean, for me, he was talking like nice, like I mean, kind of humble. And then he talked about
Yeah.
Mexico. He talked about like people doesn't know stuff, man. Like their parents, they're from Mexico. They F. Like from Mexico, Mexico. I mean, some people they
Hmm.
say like, oh, it's a gringo. But look, if you go through it, the dad from Mexico, they start letting fight. They know how to fight for the dad because the dad used to fight. I mean, like
Yeah.
people don't see what's going on right in the back.
Well, they want to see, they want to talk about what's in front. The hard part about being in a big promotion is the bad thing is you need to promote yourself, and sadly, only drama gets promoted. So when you have somebody talking smack, Ilya Tempora, when you have Raul Rosas talking about this, talking about that, I'm the best in the world, and it's great, nothing wrong with it. But again, sometimes it comes off that either you're faking it because you're trying to play a role, you're trying to like WWE. Everyone has a persona. They come out, this, that. It's like, sorry, cars are going through. It's like it's not them, and so it comes off as fake. Conor McGregor was great at it because that's him. That's just how he speaks. He's naturally very arrogant, humble, but very very arrogant because that's just how he is. Ilya Tempora didn't start talking until he got to a certain part. Um, what's his name? Kobe Covington didn't start talking until he got a big fight and then beat him. He knew that was how he needed to promote. Raul Rosas saw these guys growing up and go, man, I should do this too. So it becomes very hard where you want to sound humble, but you also need to promote yourself. And in this sport, no matter what the fans say, you got to do what you have to do to make money. And hopefully, again for Raul Rosas and all the other fighters, I think Raul's an amazing person. I've sparred with him, I've trained with him. he's so humble. He's such a nice kid. Like he really is an amazing person. But there's things that we all need to work on when it comes to promoting ourselves, and he's going to learn throughout his career. And I think he's going to be a very, very big star, not just in the U.S. but also in Mexico.
Like you say, man, the people that scream more is the one that get more attention. It's sad, it should be with your job, you know what I mean, when you do the fights.
Mhm,
But like McGregor, man, how many lost? I People still love him, like, you know what I mean? Like McGregor was saying, like he wants to go on the UFC 300. You remember all the
mhm.
talking, but I don't know, for some reason, no matter what sports, the more you talk, is the more you get good fights. Like Colby Covington was the last fight.
Mhm.
You think he crossed the line? Sorry, I got tripped. You think
Yeah,
Covington he crossed the line? You remember when he talked about the that?
I don't remember too much about it, but the bad thing with and I love Kobe. Kobe's an amazing guy. He's also a really, really nice guy. The only problem with him, at least when his with the smack talk, is he goes a little too far. I don't mind you talking like for me. Talk about me. Talk about my experiences. Talk about I'm a piece of this, I'm a piece of that, or well, talk bad about me, but don't talk about my family. Don't talk about my personal information, especially when you're talking about Masvidal, which you grew up with him, you trained with him, you came far. Don't talk about the personal life. Don't talk about how he's a bad father, or this and that. That's no, that goes too far. That's outside the sport. Same thing with Leon Edwards. That's the only reason he got the fight. You look at back in the day with Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen was the king of smack talk. There was no reason he should have been able to bump up to fight John Jones for the belt. But the only reason he did is because people knew who Chael Sonnen was because he talked smack. It's like Floyd Mayweather. You might hate him, you might love him, but no matter what, you're gonna watch his fight because you know who he is because of the smack talk he speaks. So that's the hard part about our sport. But if you're a fighter and that's what you want to do, you have to accept that this is also the if you bring drama into the world, you're gonna get drama back. So that's part of the sport. And again, fans can say whatever they want, but as long as you're winning, what's it matter? As long as you're getting paid, what's it matter?
Yeah, actually, I like to watch your videos, man. Like you put nature on talking about stuff, situations in life, and you always talking, man, that you want to do something on Chicago, right? In your hometown.
It's my city. It's my city. I have my own foundation. I help a lot, and eventually one day I want to build my own gym. But I want to help my community just because at least my neighborhood it's a bunch of Latinos, and the next neighborhood's all black, and it's just poverty all around my neighborhood. So for me, fighting saved my life. So I'm hoping to put other kids for free inside of gyms to where they have role models to help them. My dad was a gang leader. No offense to him, he wasn't the best role model, so to be able to be put in front of my coach being a Marine recon or other people that were former gang members and go, yeah, this isn't the life you want, kid. Like, do this instead of what I did. I had good role models growing up inside the gym. At home, depended on the day, so, or even on the streets. Obviously, it's not the best. So, especially being Latino, we're taught not to ask for help. We're taught to be independent. We're taught to learn how to be plumbers and handymen and learn how to cut grass and do this. And it's like, cool, nothing wrong with learning that, but we also, our parents didn't know certain things and it kept us in a certain place. So for me, going to a gym and knowing that I could be more than just my father was a plumber, being more than just a plumber and a handyman. Oh, I could be a fighter. Oh, I could travel the world, not just outside the state, but go to different states and then travel to different countries and be a role model and do this. I can do all this stuff. I didn't know that. So being inside a gym helped keep me out of the streets and not smoking, not drinking, not partying and doing dumb stuff or hanging around wrong people or being Latino and having a kid by the age of 14 or 16. So, the gym helped me a lot. And that's what I want to do with my community is be able to be a role model and show my experiences and then also help kids experience more, as they get older than I did. Be the next Shorty Torres, but 2.0, 3.0.
No, Shorty, you know what? It's really cool, man, that all your experience, all your knowledge, and I would like to train people and pass the experience. That's really great, man. Then with the young kids, with the young fighters, you know what I mean? That's really awesome, man, what you're doing, man. That's what, when I talk to you, because you're always talking about helping people with all experience. But now, right now, actually, that your main thing, you want to be a trainer, like 100%?
One day. one day. I mean, right now, I'm training Lazy Boy. I'm his head coach for his fight coming up.
You're
I know
learning. You're learning, right? Yeah.
well, I'm learning, and I've always coached. I've always been a fighter. Like I've always been around helping. For me, no matter what, I grew up coaching. I always said I'm a better coach than a fighter, and I'm a great fighter. So I can just imagine when I'm finally a coach. This is a great experience for me, and inevitably, I don't want to help people. I want to help good people. I don't care how good of an athlete you are. I want to help good people because they've been giving back. They've been helping Lazy Boy. I met him in Vegas. And I was like, "Oh, you're Mexican. Obviously, I'm gonna help you. You're my brother, And then I just saw how good he was, a genuine person. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna help you. I got you." I took care of him in the states. I paid for a lot of stuff. I took him to events. I just got to show him, the U.S. a little bit, and then different opportunities came. I went to Guadalajara to watch him fight, just because I'm like, "Yeah, man, I made a promise. If I can watch you fight, I'm gonna go." Went to go see him fight, and then after that, he finally got the call to the UFC, and he's like, "Hey, can you be my training partner? After your fight, can you come down and help me?" I was like, "Yeah." I fought, and even with my cuts, I had little lacerations from my last fight. We adapted it. I was like, "I'll make it work." And look at me, down in Ciudad de Mexico to come visit him to help him. I was the only fighter in the states that wanted to come down and actually keep my word and help. So for me, I want to help good people. There was a kid in Peru named Edgar Torres, and I think he's like 21 years old now, 22. Never fought outside of his country, and I was gonna fight Colombia, and I was like, "You know what, man? I'll get you on the card." I took a little bit of a pay cut just so he can get paid. I bought his flight, and I was like, "Dude, let's go stay in a hotel for 2 weeks. I'll train you. I'll help you cut weight, and I'll be your corner for the fight." He ended up winning the fight, and then later on the night, I had to get dressed to fight later on that night as the main event. So I fought literally an hour and a half after he fought. Like I just want to help, and if I could I just want to help good people. I don't care how talented you are. I know some really talented people that are not the best people in the world. So um, man, it's just great. One, helping Latinos, and then two, just trying to be a role model. Trying to be an example and help these kids or young adults be better than me. That's my goal. I'm good, but I want you to be great.
No, Shorty, you know what? It's really cool, man. What you're doing for Lazy Boy. And I saw a video of Lazy Boy. He was thank Hector Vasquez, the Cobriñas.
Hmm.
He got all the help he was doing. And then I know he was on a circuit tour too in Las Vegas with you guys. And then, but you know what? It's great, man. It's amazing what you're doing with Lazy Boy because it's hard for somebody to like, okay, I do it. I go travel to Mexico. I mean, so whatever happened in this fight, man, you're part of it. You know what I mean? Hopefully, you guys got to win.
Yeah.
You know what? You get deserve it, and no matter what, you're already part of the fight, man. Whatever happened, like I said, I hope he wins. But how Lacy we feeling right now? Excited?
I mean, he's very excited. He's a little drained from the weight cut, so he's, now cutting down to a smaller weight class. So it's a little difficult for him right now. But I'm excited for him to make weight. I'm excited for him to fight and not just fight in the UFC, but fight in Mexico, in his home country. Like, and you already know Mexican fans, like, they know you're Mexican. They don't even care what you do. You golf? Yeah, dude, I'll support you no matter what. It's like, what? Like, wait, what Mexican golfers you here? Same thing with like any when I came into the country, people are like, "Oh, you look familiar." Like, I'm talking to security here, and people are greeting me. They're like, "You look familiar. Oh, you find UFC? You're Mexican? Oh, dude, like, let's take a picture." It's like if they know you're Mexican, they support you. So for him, to be able to fight in his country, it's not just a great opportunity, but an amazing moment to represent his country in his country and just show off his pride. I'm excited to see him fight. More than likely, I'll cry no matter what if he wins or loses, just because again, when I help people, especially when I'm in their corner and I'm coaching them, if you lose, I lose. If you win, I win. Technically, hell, if you get paid, I get paid too. But for me, like I want to succeed with my guys, and I want my guys to succeed with me. This is especially even my team back in the states. It's not a team; it's a family. So for me, if I grow, I want people to grow with me. I don't want to just use you and okay, cool, thank you for your time. Same thing with Lazy. He doesn't want to just use me and that's it. He wants me to grow with him. So I get a great experience here to coach him and learn how to coach and do certain things, be a head coach for once, not just, a body or an assistant coach. But it's an amazing time for me because I want to slowly eventually transition to coaching from fighting to from being a fighter to slowly learn how to coach and be proper with that. But he's gonna be a very, very different animal when he gets in there, and seeing how much he's improved is it makes me feel good, especially when he's brought his fighters from Veracruz here, and we're all training together, and they come to me like, "Shorty, I did what you told me to yesterday, and it worked." And I'm like, "Dude, that makes me feel great." These guys are listening; they're sponges, and I'm really, really excited for Lazy. But I'm just really excited for him to walk out and change his life because I think that's what's gonna happen.
Oh, you know what? That's amazing. What are you doing right now? So, man, what about you? How you feel, man? Do you always taking notes or the enemy? Or, I mean, you sleep right, man? Or you always thinking, like, because you want to get that win, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I never sleep. I'm always so busy. But for me, I'm definitely taking notes. I'm studying. I'm now focusing on his weight cut to try to do it as healthy, as safe, and as productive as possible. But for me, I got a lot of things going on where it's a little complicated because I'm also still training. I'm still fighting. I'm getting ready for my next fight, and well, slowly getting ready for my next fight. And but I'm also trying to enjoy the food out here, enjoy a social life, enjoy time with people. Hopefully, I get to go home for a few days, enjoy time with my family, my mother, my brother, and then get back to camp. Get back to different things. So I'm trying to multitask as much as possible. I know even right after this, I have two business calls, and then I have to make sure Lazy goes to bed and he's healthy and he's eating and he's hydrated, and we set the schedule up for tomorrow. Make sure everything is planned. And the hard part about this too is I'm living with him. It's not okay. Cool. I'll see you tomorrow, and we'll figure it out. No, I'm living with you, so I have to make sure you're up on time. I have to make sure you keep your word. I have to make sure that I put my foot down and go, no, you can't eat this. No, you can't drink this. No, we can't move practice and have to do certain things. Or I have to listen and really notice, if he's like, when he's like, hey, I'm tired, is he just making an excuse or is he really out of it and he can't compete? Like, hey, taking another practice might be a little bad right now. There's no reason to take him. Let's take him later on. So it becomes complicated with that because any coach can tell you what to do, but it takes a real coach to pay attention and go, oh, this person. It's like a relationship. A relationship ain't gonna work by just talking. You need to actually do the actions and go, oh, baby, you're not feeling well today. Okay, I could actually see that. And I can kind of feel that. Then we got to figure this stuff out. Same thing, lazy boy. Oh, you're not feeling well today. Okay, cool. Let's give you this. Let's give you that. Let's maybe give you some more time to sleep, and we'll move practice 2 more hours. Still gonna do the same work, and we're gonna move practice. We're all here with you. We'll all struggle together. It's okay. I'm running an hour a day with. We're running 10 kilometers every single day, and then we're doing 40 minutes in the sauna. Like I'm with him the entire time. Yeah, I get to drink water and I get to eat, but I'm also not in shape like he is. So it still sucks for me. So it's like, hey, I'm in pain too. Come on, we'll struggle together. So it's again, it's a family thing. So it's a really good learning experience. But with my life, I am always super, super busy and not just a lazy boy, but life in general, man.
Actually, two things, man, to let you go. I get too much time, but we have so much info, man. Use two things before you leave. One thing, what's your motivation, man, to start on the MMA?
Um Uh, the funny thing is, it might be a little bit of a story, but my dad was a gang leader and wanted me to learn how to fight. And then two, I watched Power Rangers, Dragon Ball Z, a lot of shows, so I always wanted to fight because I wanted to be a hero. I wanted to save the day. So my mom saw the energy and was like, "Let's take you to the gym. Let's see if you like it." And I started fighting, and little I know, when I started fighting, I was doing two things. One, I was making my dad proud because I was winning fights. I was learning how to fight. I'm now eventually becoming a professional fighter. But then two, every time I won, people around me were getting motivated. Like, yo, I don't want to go to the gym, but I want to be an accountant. Or you make me want to accomplish my goals. You make me want to like, oh wow, Shorty could do it. Then I could do it too. I went to the same school as him, or I'm around the same age or same neighborhood or Latino or whatever the case may be. So I started to be the hero I always wanted to because I became the role model. every time I won, kids were like, "I want to be like him," or "Wow, you're a fighter. That's so cool." It's like awesome. So I was doing two things. So that's my motivation. I fought for my father, and then I fight for the people that are in my life. Hopefully, I motivate people. So one of them being Lazy Boy, and my family, my brother. A lot of people. So I continue fighting because I want to continue a legacy. And my legacy is what my father gave me. He always thought I could be a champion, so I got to prove him right.
Hey, Shorty, back in the days, do you admire like any fighters from whatever league? Like you know what, I want to be like that
Um,
guy or something.
my favorite fighter, and even personality wise, was Manny Pacquiao. I love Manny Pacquiao. He bumped up multiple weight classes. He created history. Sadly, he was an executioner, but he fought some Mexican greats. And for me, I wanted to be like him. I wanted to beat up some great people. I wanted to have fights with great people. I wanted to create my own foundation like he has. I did. I wanted to become a multiple division champion. I did. I wanted to just be a role model. I have been. So for me, I want to be like Manny Pacquiao, and I want to be better. That's the part of being a role model, is not just going, "Hey, I want you to be like me." No, no, no. I want you to be like me, but better. Do everything that I couldn't do, please, or do more than what I did. So that's what I want. I'm sure Manny, wants the same. So for me, I wanted to be like Manny Pacquiao. So he's my favorite fighter.
Actually, last thing, you're talking about a fight. Do you have a coming fight? You had date already? Or
I don't have a set date, nor do I have a contract, so I can't be like, "Oh, it might be this time, it might be that time." But for me, I know I'll be fighting, possibly late spring, early summer. I'm still recovering from my cuts, and just getting back in shape, enjoying life. And I gotta focus on Lazy Boy first, and at the same time, I'm trying to definitely get used to the altitude here because it sucks. And I'm just enjoying myself as much as I can. But I know I'm gonna be getting back to fighting and training soon, and hopefully when I have a fight announcement, we could talk again then.
all right, no, Shorty, thank you, man. I appreciate your time. I hope the last time we talk, we have a lot of experience, man. But I'm sorry for my English, man. My English is really bad, man. I tried my
Don't
best, but
worry,
my
man.
English is bad, man.
Trust me, I'm practicing my Spanish, so hopefully next time we speak, I can at least do some Spanglish with you.
That's fine, sir. I appreciate it. Bueno, José Shorty Torres, esto fue Shorty Torres, el que lo viene aquí en Medio Alto Voltaje. Le estoy dando entrenamiento a Lazy Boy. Y para que lo sigan la pelea, man, we're gonna be checking the fight. Yeah, I can't wait to see the fight. Gonna be like a good fight in that day. Shorty, thank you for your time. I appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you, and your Spanish, or excuse me, your English is very good. Trust me, we were
Thank
able
you.
to have the full interview, so think about it that way. You did
Yeah.
you did a good enough job to where we were able to speak, and I'm smiling.